All right, like I said, we're going to call to public. And before we start, I'm going to say a couple of things. Somehow in the last few years, it has really gotten out of control with the behavior.
Because bad behavior should always have consequences.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
That's one of my favorites. I am fucking off. Hard to argue with that.
You will be asked to leave if you blurt out one more time, Mr. McClure.
As a Jew, I now know that you are my mortal enemy. And like the Palestinian protesters that were there on opening day, I consider you an enemy.
Excuse me. With the behavior.
Oh, okay.
An enemy because you're representative of this county. Shame on you.
Okay.
Because bad behavior should always have consequences.
You brought your religion into this committee. And that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Because bad behavior should always have consequences.
First of all, I've asked before, Mr. Esplin, about political signs at our meetings. My problem is if we allow one, we have to allow everybody. And when does it stop?
One thing, Hildy, here again you go. That is a stolen, I'm tired of my stolen signs. I'm not here politicking. I've lost 15 signs at one location over there, but this sign was put at the bridge at the opening at 7 a.m. By 9 it was gone by Steve D'Amico and a bunch of jackass maintenance people. They didn't want the sign out there at the bridge for you guys to drive by. Right next to Brady's sign that says yes on it. They left his up.
Have you seen the blue Proposition 416 signs around town and know nothing about it? Well, let's learn together. I'm Tom Brady, former mayor of Bullhead City.
They left Sue-Ann Meadows and Jeannie Kinch's up.
Because bad behavior should always have consequences.
Lakes is still up. Why you pick mine down?
Because bad behavior should always have consequences.
Yeah, they picked up all my signs over there.
So for now, if you get an Attorney General's opinion that I must let you electioneer during our meeting, I will apologize and I will allow you. But for now, no electioneering.
Madam Chair.
This is not a political sign, Hildy. You're about as low as they come. I swear I'll be glad when you're out of my office.
All right, then. All right.
Well, one person has it first. This is what she's calling politics. No, these are stolen signs. Where's that tree from the day that bridge thing? The little ones. Because I didn't have a phone number on it. I didn't want to be a pack. So then I put 10 of these out, the big ones. I didn't have a pack, so they took those out. They picked them up. Some of them were right next to Brady's low-life signs.
Have you seen the blue Proposition 416 signs around town and know nothing about it? Well, let's learn together. I'm Tom Brady, former mayor of Bullhead City. Tom Brady, former mayor of Bullhead City.
This afternoon I'll be a pack and I'll be putting them back up.
The prohibition on campaigning applies to county employees and not to the public. I believe that I can, as a member of the public, I can stand on the front of the building and campaign all I want because it's the public square.
In the past, I noticed when I was running, we were told that we could not have political signs.
Fuck you.
So I'm not going to allow political signs, And I'm also not going to allow profanity.
Fuck you.
We have really devolved. You know, we talk about our students and our children and how badly behaved they are, and look at us.
As a Jew, I now know that you're my mortal enemy. And like the Palestinian protesters that were there on opening day, I consider you an enemy.
You know, what a role model. So this is what's going to happen. No political signs, and if you use profanity, I'm going to have your mic cut off.
That's one of my favorites. I am fucking off. Hard to argue with that.
If you don't like it, Mr. McClure, you can call the Attorney General's office. I'm going to give you her phone number. It's 602-542-5025. She's itching for a reason to arrest me. She's itching for a reason to arrest me. She's itching for a reason to arrest me. Go ahead. But I'm not going to put up with this sort of overall bad behavior anymore.
Because bad behavior should always have consequences.
The county is offering basically free advertising for this or that. You know what I'm talking about?
I understand the question. It's a very valid question. Where I get into concerns, and I want to make sure that we're clear, is that we do not restrict a person's speech.
We can't seem to get a definitive answer from our own attorney.
And so when somebody says something and says, I want this or that, I recommend that you don't stop that.
We can't seem to get a definitive answer from our own attorney.
Just let them have that speech.
We can't seem to get a definitive answer from our own attorney.
We can restrict based on time, manner, and place. I have to look at the exact language that we're allowed to restrict on a limited public forum.
A designated public forum, on the other hand, is government property that, although not a traditional public forum, the government has specifically opened for open communication and free expression of ideas. That's what this is the call to the public.
I do not recommend that you cut off people. Let them have their speech. Have that speech take place, and we move on to the next item.
Even the profanity part that I talked about?
Absolutely. I understand no profanity.
Right. We can't seem to get a definitive answer from our own attorney.
A member of this council and his attorney believe that freedom of speech is a privilege. They are wrong. Freedom of speech is a God-given constitutional right. This is Eric Brandt. Eric Brandt, as you can tell, is not a very nice guy, and he has a lot to say. I don't agree with what Eric Brandt has to say, but I agree with his right to say it. Now, where I come from in Westminster, Colorado, our mayor didn't like what Mr. Brandt had to say. And some of that was targeted directly at me, and so I think the mayor was probably feeling uncomfortable for my behalf. Unfortunately, he had him removed from a public meeting, and we had to pay Mr. Brandt out. So while I don't agree with any speech that is like that, what that means is that somebody can call you guys scumbags, and there's nothing you can do about it. Some people may choose much more flowery language, as you can tell. But the freedom of speech is here, and when it's limited for certain people, that's not right. And so I just want everybody on this council to know freedom of speech is not a privilege, Mr. Mayor. It is a God-given right. And somebody's attorney may want to know that. Freedom of speech is not a privilege, Mr. Mayor. It is a God-given right. And somebody's attorney may want to know that. And somebody's attorney may want to know that. And somebody's attorney may want to know that.
I do not recommend that you cut off people. Let them have their speech. Have that speech take place, and we move on to the next item.
Even the profanity part that I talked about?
Absolutely. I understand no profanity.
Right. We can't seem to get a definitive answer from our own attorney.
You got something to say? Say it. Yeah, I just said it. Fuck you.
Anyone else?
I'm only talking about profanity.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
We can't seem to get a definitive answer from our own attorney. So for now, that's going to be my rule.
Madam Chairman.
Madam Chair.
I'm going to challenge the authority of the chairman and request a roll call vote.
Okay. And for...
The blue Proposition 416 signs around town and know nothing about it? Well, let's learn together. I'm Tom Brady, former mayor of Bullhead City.
Seems I recall that they set aside out there in front for political signs and activism stuff. It's not inside the boardroom, so I would question the county attorney on that. I'm pretty sure that's the county rule.
So that's who Buster Johnson is. Hildy hates his guts. She asked me to find out how to get rid of him. Hildy hates his guts. She asked me to find out how to get rid of him.
Because bad behavior should always have consequences.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
To sort of finish my question from Attorney Esplin, I think you kind of hit it.
Hildy Angius has voted to raise your taxes or the constituents' taxes of the county almost every single time. We want to talk about, freedom and not anti-establishment, rhinos, all of these things, when at the end of the day, she sat there and she is the one that wants to raise your taxes. Why would you vote for somebody that wants to raise your taxes? Doesn't make sense to me. I would never do that.
Because bad behavior should always have consequences.
So I'm going to withdraw that, but I'm still going to implement the profanity part. Okay, because I think that is universal, that is unacceptable in a forum like this.
Fuck you.
My name is Valerie Medina. The power of local governments to regulate speech is at its lowest ebb when the speech is in a public forum. There are two types of public forums: traditional public forums and designated or limited public forums. In the words of the U.S. Supreme Court, traditional public forums are those that we have immemorially been held in trust for the use of the public and, time out of mind, have been used for purposes of assembly, communicating thoughts between citizens, and discussing public questions. Public streets and parks are the quintessential example. A designated public forum, on the other hand, is government property that, although not a traditional public forum, the government has specifically opened for open communication and free expression of ideas. That's what this is the call to the public. Governments may impose reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions on expression in any public forum, but any restriction on the content of speech, however, is subject to strict scrutiny and must be narrowly tailored to achieve a compelling government interest. A member of this council and his attorney believe that freedom of speech is a privilege. They are wrong. Freedom of speech is a God-given constitutional right.
All right, then. All right.
But one person has it.
Armin Stang, please. Watch it.
Don't let me go.
Watch it.
So, did you make a motion or you were going to?
Good.
All right, so now that I've withdrawn my thing.
It's not an issue.
That's right. Okay.